last night, the Colts beat the Bengals 27-14, week 3 of the preseason. Anthony Richardson got the start and played 5 drives, 8 for 14, 86 yards, touchdown, and an interception. And it was a pick six, and it was kind of ugly. And Shireen pointed out, and I wasn't aware of this, they had joint practices this week, and apparently the Bengals defensive players were taunting him a little bit because the passes were off the mark. What do we really expect? Last year it was kind of like we saw glimpses of this guy can be great, and then he's out for the year. I think we just assume he waltzes right through the door and he's going to be great, but is there cause for concern?
Well, he's another one of those guys that has not played as much football, right? I mean, we always talk about that with Trey Lance, how many snaps he's played basically since 2019, and he needs them. I mean, Richardson did not have much starting experience as a quarterback. So that was part of the reason why they wanted him to play last year with Indianapolis. And so he only got 4 starts, and then he had the injury, and then he had to sit out the rest of it. So there, I think, are still going to be some of these growing pains, some of these rookie things that you probably wouldn't otherwise see if he had been able to play all of last year. So, I mean, the pick six, and I think this is what we're going to see right here. I mean, this is a case where I don't know if the receiver wasn't where he was supposed to be, but you can see there in Anthony Richardson's reaction where he kind of has his arms out like, whoa, what was that? Like, you're not where you are supposed to be on this play, and my throw is where it's supposed to be. We're not on the same page. Those things will happen sometimes. You want them to happen in the preseason rather than the regular season so you can iron that stuff out. But I think that there are still going to be some growing pains when it comes to Anthony Richardson. Going to be some mistakes that, you hope get taken care of early on so that later on in the season, the Colts can still be a factor in that AFC South or in the AFC playoff picture, because they were last year with Gardner Minshew as their quarterback.
And that makes it even, I think, harder for Anthony Richardson to find his groove this year, because you're going to have guys on that team. You have guys who think we should have kept Gardner Minshew. Keep him around. We have the unproven rookie who got injured early. They almost made it to the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. They almost made it to the playoffs. I mean, it's easy to forget for the teams that don't, because it's a very binary, you either did or you didn't. They love say what you will about Gardner Minshew's quarterback skills. His teammates always love him. They love the guy. And he almost got them. He almost got them. Well, was it a drop or was it I remember there was a play. They were driving near the end of the game. Yes. Something happened, and it's like they still could have won that game. They still could have won that game and won the division and kept the Texans out of the playoffs. So my point is, it just increases the pressure on Anthony Richardson to get this figured out. But the good news is, just like the Browns felt like they couldn't keep Joe Flacco around because they need to let their quarterback develop without the fans saying, we want Flacco. I don't know that the Colts consciously thought of this, but Minshew did so well last year. You might not want to give the Colts fans reason to clamor, or the players reasons to clamor for Minshew, if Richardson is still going through those growing pains. And the other growing pain is literal pain. I'm still not sure he's going to protect himself the way he needs to, because I hear things from him from time to time that suggest a defiance to that. It's like, dude, you get hit, you get hurt, you can't play. How are you going to get better? How's the team going to get better if you're not available? It's not a test of courage. It's a test of brain power. And how many quarterbacks lack that willingness to live to fight another day? And I'm concerned that he might be too far on the side of the line of, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to play football. Yeah, and I'm going to get hurt again.
Oh, I mean, it's something that we've talked about with Josh Allen too, right? There are times when it's appropriate to pull that stuff out, and there are times in, week 3 where it probably isn't, where we've got to make sure we do live to play another day. I mean, earlier on in the preseason, I think it was against the Broncos, there was a play where Richardson stepped out of bounds when he could have lowered his shoulder. He could have done a little bit more to try to get yards, which is absolutely the thing you do not do in a preseason game, right? So that shows some, at least a little bit of learning there. And I don't know, man. I think when you look at ceilings and you look at what Anthony Richardson's is based on what his arm can be, and it's live, right? And sometimes he's got to harness that thing. There was a third down throw that he had yesterday that was pretty open, guy on a deep crosser, and he just airmails it a little bit. We've got to harness that and make sure that we're accurate on those kind of intermediate routes. But when you look at what he can do, the potential is so high, man. And it seems like his teammates believe in him. I don't know about the whole Minshew thing. Although it's funny, you brought up the Browns and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's there. So he's the guy that the Colts now have to back up Richardson. And we know that Joe Flacco can show off that kind of live arm too. So I don't know.
Comeback player of the year, and he didn't come back until Thanksgiving. It's amazing what Joe Flacco was able to do. And I really do think that it was difficult, if not impossible, for the Browns to bring him back as they try to get more out of Deshaun Watson. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.